Hey guys, I'm back with another Bruce Box update, and Paldea Vault and Twilight Masquerade keep going up. They're both up about $15. Paldea Vault's up 14. Twilight Masquerade's up 15. Sword and Shield is also increasing, and the Sword and Shield market is also moving fast because Chilling Rain and Silver Tempest were up by quite a bit. And then when I refreshed the listing, like I don't know, 20 minutes later, like someone had already relisted the price to be a little less. But just kind of shows you the speed of like, hey, people are buying the boxes, and we're having a tug of war between like Silver Tempest was almost at 390 and it went back because someone listed a box, and we'll see how this kind of plays out on this kind of mini bull run we're having. But we're definitely seeing a lot of activity. I think with Time Masquerade, a lot of it's just like they see Paldea Evolve does really well, and everyone knows like Twilight Masquerade is gonna do like really really well. I also did have a reprint recently, and they're kind of risking a reprint, but otherwise, like everyone knows, everyone wants that Greninja card, and everyone wants that Magikarp card. So, yeah, Paldea Evolved is at pretty much 350, 349 now. It's just been rising the last couple of days. It was at like 315, 318, 335, now 349. The ladder seems to be slowing down a little bit. Now I'm starting to see more sellers. Um, Lists around the same price. There's a bunch of them around 350. Like all these boxes over here, 350. Then you get to about 356 and then 360. So 360 would be the kind of next price jump, but it's gonna take a little bit of time to get there. But I don't know. People have been buying up all day as well. You see, like pretty much every other day, there's a little mini spike of buying. So like 23. Start with this 23, and then 2 days later, 15, and now 9 sold. So what price do you think Paldea Ball is gonna go up to? It's gonna be pretty insane. And then, but we're getting to the point where like Paldea Ball is worth like so much more than the other booster boxes. Like it's worth like uh it's getting to the point where like if Paldea Ball is like at $400 by the end of this year, like I wouldn't be too surprised. And that's like worth double some of these other booster boxes. Twilight Masquerade, everyone knows that like it's comparable to Paldea Evolved in some ways because it has a big chase card. Like everyone knows Sword and Shield at this point. Um, like why are the really expensive sets really expensive? Well, people want them. There's some timing things as well, but Always Guys has so much like so many great cards in there, and then like everything else is like kind of like second tier compared to that. But like Fusion Strike and Lost Origin are kind of the big players, or they have the big chase cards, and after that, everything else is sort of like mid tier. So people think it's gonna play it that way, and they're probably gonna be right. Like Twilight Masquerade has that chase card. Like it reminds you of Lost Origin Giratina like quite a lot. Um, Twilight Masquerade, it went up and it sold two. Yesterday two, today two, and let's see. It also starts to look like it's starting to slow down a little bit. So 395 is over here, and it goes to 300 at the bottom. So wouldn't be surprised if we do cross 300 like briefly a little bit or get really really close, but it is starting to slow down a little bit, and we're kind of going to see how the market kind of corrects during this time. But we're definitely not seeing like a slump. We're definitely not seeing like where all booster boxes are just really slow. We had that like a week or two ago where just kind of everything slumped down. Like we do see movement in a lot of the booster boxes. Let's see. Sword and Shield base is back up $82. Someone did buy the booster box for Sword and Shield, and it kind of returned back to its previous price. So they bought the cheap one over here around the 400, like mid 400s, and now it's back at 585. A lot of Sword and Shield wasn't sold. A lot of Sword and Shield was bought today actually. Like I looked at the beginning ones and there was not a lot bought, but then yeah, just like you see this one today over here, just a lot of activity recently for today. I talked about Silver Tempest earlier, so Silver Tempest, I was gonna report that it was at like 389, and then like yeah, it was a Galaxy Guard Shop 386, and then suddenly this Gomilus cards has a cheaper one up. So I don't know, it's kind of a deal. Like I wouldn't be surprised if this gets bought up, but yeah, like otherwise like we really keep hugging this like 390 price for Silver Tempest. But people are buying the cheaper ones that do spring up randomly. Four were sold for Silver Tempest yesterday, and then one was sold today. Always Guys is also having some more activity where I think I mentioned yesterday that the man is just starting to pop up a little bit. There's like these dry periods, and you see that like two of them were bought yesterday, and then in this listing, and then there's a picture of the over here which also sells a little more expensive one. So let's look at the spread for Always Guys right now. Like what's the market look like? any booster box on this page. So there's one booster box over here. And then there's still this cheap one that has like a little bit of damage. So but essentially there's one booster box over there at 1900. And then there's this other picture listing for 1900. Then you get two 1950s, and now you're seeing the 925s and then the 940s. So I think the volume guys prices are starting to like have a more evenly distributed ladder, if that makes sense. Like before it'd be like a bigger price jump. I was like, okay, it'll go from 1915, like 1900 1915 to the 19 like 20s to 1940s to 19 like 70s. So it's not like a major like $100 price jump. It's like up $20 here and there after things start to sell out. Other things, I'm just kind of jumping back and forth. Fusion Strike is starting to kind of recover like pretty slowly. So three was bought. One was bought today, and you just see the price just creep up back to like 760. So there's definitely some interest in Fusion Strike right now. And I mean, like of all these guys, people aren't really sure like if it's like at a good time to buy right now. But Fusion Strike, people always have their eye on that because it's like, people want Sword and Shield, and it's just like the second best set of Sword and Shield, and it costs like you can buy roughly like 2.5 Fusion Strike for Evolving Skies, so that's just a little tempting. But when I look at the Fusion Strike things, there are a bunch of picture listings with some like minor imperfections or whatever, so you can get some cheaper Fusion Strike. So that's kind of the caveat to these higher prices starting to appear. People might end up being desperate enough to buy these sort of imperfected ones. Okay, and then next, let's see. Brilliant Stars is going up slowly as well. So it went up another $2. That was at 402, and you just see like it's been, it hasn't really dropped at all since a week ago. So I'm just like trying to track kind of the bottom for these. So Fusion Strike and Brilliant Stars may have kind of like tracked the bottom, reached the bottom. Fusion Strike is a little debatable because of all the picture listings, but with Brilliant Stars, I think that there's not as many picture listings. Yeah, like there's no picture listings, so there's one at 402 over here, and then you get another one 402, and then you get 412. So kind of depends on the market momentum shifts, but could shift back to like the 410 range. Kind of surprised he was like Astral Radiance is actually getting a little more attention. So went $5 back up to like 380, and that's matching like the price that was around like the 9th or the 6th. So it's starting to recover back from its like recent losses. But you just see like this cluster over here ever since like June 15th. Usually Astral Radiance before was only one per day, but now there's like some days only two per day, and they're more like together. So a little more Astral Radiance activity, and I think some people just expect it to kind of be near like Brilliant Stars. So I think that some people are buying the cheaper ones before it runs up to about 400, because there's not really that many before 400. Like there's this one picture listing over here. Actually looks in pretty good condition, to be honest. That's about 380, and then like there's basically these three boxes for 380, and then this goes to 400, and then these three boxes for 380s. But people don't always count the picture listings, or that doesn't affect TCG player pricing. Okay, I just realized this video is super disorganized. Sorry for that. I might as well just finish up Sword and Shield. So Lost Origin over here, it went up $2 at 509. Lost Origins have been having consecutive sales the last couple of days, and it's usually pretty much in the same place usually, so it's around like 510 roughly. It could go up to 520, but it kind of depends. Like as I said before, Lost Origin kind of finds its price point pretty quickly, and it kind of stays there. A lot of people just sell at that point. I think there's just a little bit too much Lost Origin supply. Because like it was one of the last ones and got that big reprint. And same thing with Silver Tempest. There's just a little too much, and that kind of affects the pricing. Otherwise, we'd see more like price discrepancies. But I think there's just, but you wouldn't see this necessarily, like all this price bunching, if there wasn't like enough Lost Origin. I'm also gonna look at the quantity. Like there's 185 listed, which isn't always the most accurate way to judge this. I guess Fusion Strike has 146. Rebel Clash has been seeing a little more activity, so one was actually bought today, so two consecutive, almost like almost consecutive sales of Rebel Clash after having no sales at all, so that's pretty surprising. Rebel Clash has a very low amount, so it only has 11. And that's pretty much it for Sword and Shield. Like Vivid Voltage, I'm still eyeing the 230 price, where it's not too far from 230. Like it just sells these two boxes. Okay, and the Scarlet Violets, Scarlet base over here went down $7. As I said before, Scarlet Violet base is gonna struggle a little bit to break it past like two. Let's see, where is it? Like there's this TC Sunrise has a bunch of boxes for about 207, so it's gonna struggle to break that 207 price until that gets all bought out. Otherwise, there's a cheap box from Defer Toys for about 200. Otherwise, it goes back to 207. City in Flames looks like it is starting to possibly rise out of its 245 range. So 3 were sold, and yeah, like the number of 245 boxes are starting to evaporate. So these are the only ones left. There's these 6. Although Kane's Game Company comes back, and over here this is about 247. So we're gonna reach 247 soon, and there's only 3 boxes about 247, and it goes to 250. So that'd be a nice little price increase for Paradox. Obsidian. Paradox and Temporal, strangely enough, they had 0 demand yesterday, so 0 sales. So they're kind of the same place as yesterday, just hovering around where they were before. Paradox is around 212, and Temporal is still at 292, which is a good price. But yeah, it didn't have any demand, so it's kind of at the same place as yesterday. I already talked about Twilight. So Stellar Crown over here sold 2, and it keeps getting really close at 219 price. But then there's still this one cheap one over here, and then there's this 250 one over here. Otherwise, Stellar Crown, like I know people do like this set. And the Surging Sparks, it's doing that weird thing where it's actually having like a reverse effect with this price rise of booster boxes. It's been having a little more demand to make up for it, but yeah, the price kind of keeps going down. I keep seeing more and more boxes starting to get listed. And yeah, this beat owner here is really putting a dent in the market because it has these 30 boxes. Like it's significantly more than what people normally list over here. So it's kind of hurting the market price over here. So if there's something, it's like establishing a 230 market price and people are trying to undercut it and sell it for a little less. But yeah, we're kind of backtracing when it was hitting like 240, unfortunately. All right, that's it for today's video. Thanks guys, bye.